What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to be talking to you about the new album from the band Katechon, entitled Coronation. This is released on Nuclear War Now Productions. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are based out of Trondheim, Norway, and the best way to describe the sound of this band would be a very devastating, occult, metaphysical style of both death metal and black metal. Yeah. My first introduction to this band was their 2013 debut full-length entitled Man, God, Giant. That was something very marvelous to behold. A very good death metal record with awesome musicianship, great artwork, and a very good pace going for it. Then, of course, you know that this is a band that is representative of a Norwegian metal style that I feel doesn't get the love and respect that it deserves. Of course, Norway is more well known for its black metal than it is its death metal, but there have been a lot of really unique and interesting bands to represent death metal out of Norway over the years, both old and new, more recently with bands like Obliteration, and then bands that are more likely well known like Eternus or Molested or Old Funeral. The list could go on and on. There's a lot of great cult bands to come out of that country. But now we have a band like Katechon representing that unique Norwegian death metal style. And that was, Man, God, Giant was a very good introduction to their style. But now we have their sophomoric effort entitled Coronation. It's 8 tracks, and it clocks in at around 34 minutes in length. And pretty much this album definitely feels like a huge step forward for this band's sound and representation. What they had on the first album, they bring more of that here, but definitely more refined and a lot harder working. This is definitely not a sophomore slump, to say the least. This is an amazing album. Definitely a real representation of Norwegian death metal. Music-wise, it definitely sounds heavier than ever before. The guitar tone seems to be a lot more heavier and powerful this time around, pretty much on the atonal side of things, but it definitely works out well for them. I think the guitar sound on here is very clear, very powerful and hard-hitting. You get your occasional tremolo riffs, you get a lot of nice lead-ins, and you get some really deep and well-thought-out solos. You hear it on tracks like Desolation and Humanity Diseased. Just some amazing songwriting being represented on those songs. It's definitely what makes this well-oiled machine run so smoothly. The bass tone is very good too, definitely audible, not too audible to where it feels overbearing, but definitely more likely than anything this is an album that is morally dominated by great guitar riffs, and it definitely shows throughout the 8 songs that are on here. Once again, I mentioned the fact that this band runs things at a very well-oiled pace. This is a pretty short record, but it doesn't feel too long or too short. It doesn't feel like there's any filler or anything messing around or getting in the way. This is a band that doesn't like to pussyfoot things. They get the job done, and I feel they do it grand justice here with this album's pace. Drum-wise, I love this drummer. Definitely a great drum performance being represented here on Coronation. A lot of double bass, a lot of blast beats, great fills, good snare tone. I love the kick and the snare. I love the way the crash cymbals are. It's just a very perfectly structured drum performance. You can hear everything played, done very well here. It sounds well produced. It doesn't feel disingenuous in the slightest, and I love the way that the drums are being represented here. Pretty much for the lengthier tracks that are represented on here, I think this drummer knows how to do a great drum performance. And when it comes to the vocals, pretty much similar vocals to the last record. The vocals have a very deep bellowing roar to them, very guttural, very well worded, and very well understood. It's mostly a guttural vocal performance all the way throughout, but you get your occasional instances of breaking out into more depraved sort of mid-range high screams, and I think that the diversity is pretty key here throughout this album. But the booming low end sort of vocals sound really great too. I love what this guy does here, and he definitely commands your attention more than anything here. So overall, If you're a fan of Norwegian death metal, and if you were a fan of this band's first album, Man God Giant, I would say Coronation is definitely miles ahead better. This is a really great representation of what Norwegian death metal should feel like and sound like, and I'm looking forward to them continuing on in the warpath to being more great and more successful as time goes by. So, if I had to pick any favorite tracks, I would definitely have to say Desolation, Humanity Diseased, Asylum, and Death is King. Just some incredible songwriting being represented here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you some links in the description box as to how you can get a hold of this album and listen to it. I will link you to the Nuclear War Now Productions Bandcamp page where you can stream this album in its entirety, hear it for yourself, and be your own judge as to whether you think it's worthy of being purchased or not. You can purchase it digitally, and it is also available physically. It's currently available on CD. I'm pretty sure there could be vinyl sometime later on down the road, but you never know. But anyways, keep your ears and eyes out open for that. So, again, the album is Coronation by Katechon. This is released on Nuclear War Now Productions. Definitely check this out. And for a score, I'm going to give this a pretty solid 9 out of 10. Definitely a really awesome piece of Norwegian death metal. So support Katechon. I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks all for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. And until the next time, Armijo out.